Six Nations Team of the Week for round number 3, folks. We are more than halfway through the competition. I still find this year's one a little bit weird. Ireland are like a juggernaut that hasn't quite hit top gear. France are a shadow of them for themselves. Italy managed to get a draw. The Welsh youngsters look promising, but still haven't got a result. The English got their first loss, but that continues a run against the Scots. And the Scots very much still in it, but with a looming trip to Dublin in a few weeks. Maybe they've got to worry about the Italians first. But anyway, focusing on round 3, let's go through 15 guys, highlight some kind of key shifts, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. First pick in the front row, we're going to start with some props. Andrew Porter, if I'm not mistaken, I have picked him 2 weeks in a row, well, 2 rounds in a row. He still gives away a couple of penalties. I'm waiting for the week where Andrew Porter doesn't give away any penalties, but still, on the balance of what he brings, a couple of penalties is a small price to pay, man. Massive at scrum time. Absolutely massive. Like, he's in top form. I think more than Furlong. And a few years ago, Furlong probably should have got World Player of the Year. Maybe that year Sexton got it. I don't know. But you know what I mean. Porter's in cracking form at scrum time. He's making a bunch of tackles this week. He makes 9. He's busy. He makes 7 carries. He makes a couple of passes. He wins a turnover. He is bloody good at the breakdown. So, Andrew Porter. Very good form, and I did put his scrum partner there in Tadhg Furlong. Tadhg Furlong's had this kind of injury nagging doubt about him for a wee while, but he seems to be getting into that kind of Tadhg Furlong of old form. He also concedes the 1 penalty this week, but ultimately was a big part of that Irish scrum getting dominance. He also makes 100% of his tackles, 6 from 6. Passes 4 times in an offload. 6 runs for just the meter is a little bit less than what we expect from old Twinkle Toes, but ultimately you're judging your props on what they do up front, and the Irish props did pretty well. I am going to go, interestingly, with a substitute for the hooker, and I'm going to go with Ewan Ashman. I don't really go with the subs that often, but Ewan Ashman, I think, had an absolute massive impact on the game against England. He comes off the bench and makes 9 from 9 tackles, which is a heck of a shift, given that, you know, the bench guys usually don't get the same amount of game time. And he also helps win 2 turnovers. One of those kind of maul choke tackles towards the end of the game, which just shut down the English momentum. He also manages 3 carries, beats a defender, has a couple of passes. And the Scottish line-out was all right. The Irish line-out, I think, finished like 12 from 14, but it looked shakier than the previous few weeks. But yeah, Ashman for Scotland, I thought was really adding a lot of value from the bench. I'm going to continue the Irish theme, though, in the second row. Tadhg Beirne managed a yellow card, sadly for him. But again, despite the fact that he got a yellow card and gave away a penalty try, geez, he was good at everything else. As soon as he finished the yellow card, comes back on, shuts down a Welsh maul. He makes 100% of his tackles, which is 15 from 15. He makes 10 runs. He grabs himself a try at the end of the game. How does he keep getting clean breaks? He gets 2 clean breaks. Does he know he's a lock who can play loose forward? Not like a lock who can play wing or centre, more like the way he plays. But 5 defenders beaten. Carrying game is immense. Passes, great hands. Goodness me. Tadhg Beirne. Hell of a player. Genuinely one of my favourite players in the world. Other lock, I went with a Welshman in Daffy Jenkins, the captain, young captain. Now he does, I got Tadhg Beirne's name on the board. The one he kind of eluded on the way to the try line was Jenkins. So he does have a couple of missed tackles, including that one. So that one he'd like back. But ultimately, Jenkins is leading the way for this young Welsh side with high work rate. And that's very pleasing to see. Like, there's guys who are probably more skilled, but I'm not saying he's not skilled, but you know what I mean. Like Richie McCaw. I'm not trying to compare him to Richie McCaw, but the concept being, always had this thing about like hard work being the way he was going to get ahead. You can see that hard work from Daffy Jenkins. One of the leading tacklers was 17 from 20, even if he misses that key one. And when you're looking at like the ruck stats, I think he leads the Six Nations for attacking ruck stats. Just hit rucks, make tackles. That's your job. He still has 8 carries. He gets 4 meters. He has 3 passes. He does concede a couple of penalties, but hit rucks, make tackles, lead from the front. The young guys will get behind you. I do believe the results will come. The side will get better as they get more experience, they get more mature, they get more kind of cohesion. But yeah, no wins at the minute, but still some encouraging signs. They could have got thumped by a lot more against Ireland away from home. Back row, I have gone with a Frenchman. I actually managed to get a Frenchman on the board because it was looking doubtful because it wasn't the French kind of classic performance, was it? Paul Boudreau, I think in the absence of Aldrit, was probably the standout of the back rowers. I mean, Kroos won a pretty nice turnover early, but I mean, 36 metres, when you're trying to replace those metres that Aldrit usually gets you. I know he didn't get the try, Olivon got the try, but 36 metres from Boudreau. The next best French forward had 17. He has 8 carries. He has 15 from 15 tackles. The next best French player had 10. So in the context of his team, this guy is excelling. He also wins a turnover. So very, very busy shift from him. He was out in the wide channels at one point helping shut down a move. He does concede a penalty, but yeah, in a really lackluster French performance, I thought was one of the players who, he's not like a 9 out of 10 performance, but a good solid shift. Do your core role. Another guy who I thought did pretty well, more than pretty well, especially in that first half, Michele Lamaro from Italy, maybe in a similar thing with Jenkins. Work rate, man. 18 out of 20 tackles, 13 of them in the first half. Tackle, 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 hold the French out, keep them out. Like, it didn't look possible that they were going to be kept out for as long as they did. The only difference being they did keep the French out. Like, I'm comparing it to that Welsh game the day before, is that Ireland at one point, I think the James Lowe try was just like face. How are Wales holding on? Eventually they didn't. Well, for the Italians, a bunch of phases, and they did hang on. They only conceded the one try, which was, I don't want to say a fluky one, but yeah, it was a kind of Olivon flopping over the line from a nice wokey pop ball, but the Italian defence wasn't cut to bits. They stood that test pretty well. He wins a turnover. He has 12 passes, which is a heck of a lot for a back rower. Couple of offloads, 9 carries, really, really busy work rate. No penalties conceded. Great effort from the young captain. And then number 8, one of his teammates, Ross Vincent, another kind of very young fella with really similar numbers to Lamaro, man, in terms of his shift. 18 from 20 tackles helps keep France helps keep Italy alive in the first half of that game. They don't get a draw if they can see 2-3 tries in that first half when they were just under so much pressure. And he also was one of the more effective Italian ball carriers. Finished with 40 metres, which is cracking from his 7 carries. Still looks really too young to be playing international rugby, but man, if you can do it, you can do it. Does concede 1 penalty, but yeah, 5 passes. So Coach Quesada kind of rolled the dice a little bit with some changes. I think those paid off, especially with Vincent starting at number 8. So there you go. That's the forward pack. Backs, I'm going to go with Jameson Gibson Park at number 9. 103 passes. Bloody hell, that's very rare to halfbacks get 103 passes. You've got to have a lot of possession, and you've got to have quick ball. And the Irish quick ball still continues to impress me, even though you've been seeing it game after game after game after game. It is genuinely quite impressive. He's got a bullet pass for the Frawley try, so he gets an assist for that one. He has 30 metres of his own, makes 5 from 6 tackles, does concede a penalty, a couple of drop balls, but ultimately, man, Gibson Park gets that Irish team humming on attack. And then number 10, everybody loves Finn Russell. No, they don't. A lot of people can't stand it, but I like watching Finn Russell play, and he kind of tempered his own running game this week. He didn't really do the Finn Russell running game. I think he only ran it once. So, yeah, pretty different from Finn Russell. What he did have was 100% from the boot. He has 3 conversions, 3 penalties for 15 points. That's a heck of a contribution. He has a try assist. The try assist for the final Duan van der Merwe try is a proper thing of beauty. He has 10 passes, 17 kicks, so distribution work on point. Wins a turnover. Helps lead his side. Pretty well, I guess, at the end of the day, compared to that opening round where they almost surrendered the lead to Wales. Like, they seem to be maybe getting a bit more cohesion compared to that time. So there you go. Gibson Park, and Russell, 9 and 10. Inside centre, I went with Bundy Aki. How could I not? He was incredible. He's in form of his life. I mentioned it earlier in the top 5 players of the round video. If you haven't seen it, I got to speak to former Scottish international Chris Patterson as well. Check that one out if you haven't. He talks some rugby, which is what you want him on for. But yeah, Bundy Aki, man, 40 metres. Couple of clean breaks, beats 4 defenders, 10 from 10 tackles. He's in every bloody ruck. He gets in the mauls, 5 passes, 16 runs, like just unbelievable. I don't know what else to say about him. He's just everywhere. Very, 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 very pleasing, I'm assuming, for the coaches to watch a guy just get into his work like that. And then alongside him, Hugh Jones from Scotland helped set up 2 of Duhan van der Merwe's tries. One from a big line break from a scrum move, showed a bit of gas and the ability to pop the ball from the ground. Another one, a bit of a quick reaction thinking from turnover ball from England. What was it? The fullback? Burbank. Took me a minute. Burbank. Gets the pop ball from Burbank, gets it to Duhan. Duhan is Gomberger. So, yeah, sets up 2 tries. 31 metres of his own. 3 defenders beaten. 10 tackles plus. And just like, again, like the Bundy Aki stuff, you see him pop up in the right places. Like, he's the one helping clear out a ruck right before, the phase before Finn Russell kicks the cross kick to Duhan. So it's the red path line break, and then he's following up to make sure they don't get isolated runners. Great stuff. So Hugh Jones, fantastic shift from him. Outside backs, 3 try, Duhan van der Merwe. Loves playing England. 3 tries. Gasses Earl on the outside for the 3rd one. For the 2nd one. Gets the cross kick. Great hands on the bounce. It's a great bounce for him for the 3rd one. Great confidence to not need Kyle Steiner on the right for the 1st one. He just powers over and makes sure he gets the ball down. Earl did really well to track him back. But, nah, man. 3 tries. 89 metres. Beat 6 defenders. Remember, he had 3 defenders beaten going into this game from the first 2 rounds. Beat 6 alone against England. Has a yellow card at the end, which is a bit of a blight on his record. He maybe could have done better for the Furbank score at the start, but it's more like the guys on the inside. I think that I think Stain came across to make the tackle, but it was all a bit too little too late. So, yeah, Duhan. 3 try, Duhan. Another winger, Emmanuel Fei Waboso, off the bench. Another bench player. Comes in on the right wing, off the bench, and has more impact than I think Daly and Freeman provided the entire game. I want to see him start. I've been harping on about it. Come on, Steve. Give him a start. And they can't always replicate it when they start. But, geez, man, he gets a try. It's a nice work move on the left. He gets 4 runs for 45 metres, which makes him the 3rd top ball carrier of the England lineup, and he gets that from the bench. I think Freeman had 20-something, Ed Daly had 20-something. This 3rd's in the 40s. It's not all about that. I know Daly's in the team partly for his big kick and boot and whatnot, but come on. Come on, Steve. 3 defenders beating a clean break and a pass. The guy's got potential. And lastly, one of the Italian boys, they seem to be getting his name more correct. Capuzzo, the fullback from Italy, also scored a pretty nice try when they finally got the hands going. Has 66 metres, beats 3 defenders, which is the most any of the Italian guys got. I think he's first equal. He even makes 8 tackles, 8 out of 9. He's not the biggest dude, but just speaks to that Italian defensive shift in the first half. They needed to make tackles, and even Capuzzo was getting in there. So, well done to him. Wins a quick line out, does a bit of everything. Well done, young man. Honourable mentions, I would say Dan Cole did pretty well, made his tackles and scrummaged, won a couple of early scrum penalties against the Scots. Stan Sheehan scores again. The line-out was looking a little bit ropey, but he's still bloody good, isn't he? Antonio was bossing the scrum against the Italians early on in that first half. For the French, Tuilangi showed soft hands in that French second row, which is pleasing. I think we'll see more of him. Cummings made a heap of tackles for the Scots in the second row. Underhill got a heap of turnovers as well. Ben Earl also looked pretty busy, and I just love the fact that off the back of that scrum, when Scotland get that big line break, which does end in a try, he's still running full tilt to try and get back, trying to get back for his team. That's the stuff you can't really coach. Some guys lie prone on the ground watching what happens. Some guys get back and try to make a difference, even if they know it's mostly over. he still gives it a crack. Kieran Crowley looked... Kieran Crowley? Jack Crowley looked pretty good. Kieran Crowley's the former Italian coach and former All Black. Probably a bit old to be playing now, but Jack Crowley still looks really good for Ireland. I'm really happy with how he's going. 100% from the tee as well for him, which is great. Fiku was maybe the best of all the French players, to be honest. But Hugh Jones, I've got edging him at that 13 jersey. Menoncello was great on the wing. Cam Winnett for the Welsh was bloody good at fullback. We had a lot of good fullbacks this week. Frawley was also very good for Ireland. Scored himself a nice try. More involvements in the second half than the first for him. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts on your team of the week. Who would you be picking? Who do you think was the kind of standout player? And as I said, if you want to see the top 5, recorded that earlier with a special guest appearance from former Scottish international, Chris Patterson. It was good to chat with him. Really nice bloke. But yeah, you guys take care and talk to you again soon. Ta-ra.